I had to really learn how to love myself, like deeply love myself. DRIPPMAN, 2 P's, and this is day 5 of the homeless rapper. Stay tuned to see why we wound up in a parking lot tonight. And also, I wanted to let you know that the way I edited this episode was to highlight the chaotic nature of some days of being homeless, such as a day like today, where the DRIPPMAN had to check out of a hotel after being there for a few days, and he didn't know where he was going. So with his thoughts jumbled and a plan not there, this is how our morning went. All right, yeah, so checkout's 11 a.m. and it's like 10:50 a.m. I just like tried to take a little nap before I left. I just feel really drained. So I know like I'm not gonna have a bed to sleep in. We're excited when we get there, and you know, it's a little bit whatever when you leave, but it's not that hard to pack because you know you're going home or whatever. Like, I'm trying to go to a bush. So let's get this packed up. Like I literally have a bladder issue. I don't know what it is. I think it's like a UTI. So I literally have to pee every 5 or 6, 7 minutes. Because like I was constantly abandoned when I was younger. I am just feeling overwhelmed. It's so weird to think that like I don't have anywhere to go. Feels like we've been working as hard as we can. I don't know, I just can't help but sit here and just, you know, it's hard for me to talk to Kitty Ma on days like this. I just be wondering. You gotta imagine, like, obviously Kitty Ma's the sweetest person in the world and she loves me. Look at this shit. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Most of me is like happy, like thank God. Obviously, what real nigga would want their woman in that situation? And feel unloved and sad and stuff. I just been sitting here staring at the wall. Not to, because I can definitely be a crabby person. I just need to get through to the end of the month. It's like 8, 9, 10 days away. And it's stressful not to be, but for some reason I just obliterate everything. I still haven't cleaned my car. Well, all my things are out of the hotel. Like I literally have nowhere to go. And it is hot as fuck out here. Other homeless people like and they can do things to people. So a lot of us work through it and get to wherever we are. Like most days, I know what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say today, you know? Yeah, man. Rough day today. I know you guys just seen that footage. I was just mumbling and jumbling away. Couldn't really formulate a sentence. Hey man, make no mistake about it, man. Today was stressful having to move out of that hotel. I really want to thank you guys for putting me in a hotel for a few days. You know, just the luxury of knowing I had a comfortable place to stay and take a shower and all that, man, is something that I don't take for granted and would never take for granted. Absolutely. But it's certainly taxing, you know, obviously having to leave and not knowing where you're going and on a hot day like this, I found a beautiful parking lot where I could have at least somewhat of privacy, you know? And yeah, just been chilling here all day, you know? It was hot in the car. My air conditioner, you can't really leave your car started for, 12 hours and just blow your AC, you know what I mean? For a lot of reasons. So it was hot in the car. I tried sleeping in there. You gotta understand, while I was in the hotel, I didn't use that as an opportunity to sleep. I used that as an opportunity to work, grind some more. We got this homeless guy series that I've been shooting, editing, and then of course we just finished the album, and what a legendary album it's gonna be. It is, and what it's gonna be. So just grind mode. So I didn't really sleep. So unfortunately, today everything came crashing down. Not only emotionally, you know what I mean, me being a boohoo baby, but certainly understandably so about not knowing where I'm going. That's emotionally taxing. Then of course the physically taxing part caught up with me today too. And on those days I need to sleep. And it was just compounded by the mental uncertainty. You know what I mean? So, boom. So I said, I have no choice. I got to rest up today. So I attempted to do that. Now, in the heat, like I said, it's difficult. I do got my fans. That gave me limited reprieve in the truck, so I did try to lay outside. Moderate success. I do feel like as the evening basked on, because it's around midnight right now, and I've been laying down for probably like 10 hours or trying to, 8 to 10 hours besides when I use the bathroom. I probably got a good 3 hours in, last 3 hours, so I got a little bit more bounce in my step. Not sure exactly what I'm gonna do tonight. I mean, I probably should try to rest up a little bit more. Just made a status that I posted on YouTube, explaining why I wasn't live today. It just wasn't realistic for me to be able to give you all the energy that y'all needed today. It's a very confusing day today for a lot of reasons, but the one certain thing is we're still headed in the right direction. We have a lot to celebrate. And being homeless is definitely a temporary thing. We're homeless with a plan. It was unexpected, of course, how it was sprung on me. But this isn't your typical average situation. And that's why I so much appreciate the donations, because we really just need to bridge ourselves to the end of the month. So once we get our next YouTube check, and what we're gonna do with that, we're gonna be hitting the road. Being homeless has actually been a blessing in a lot of ways. And one of them is it opened up my eyes and is also literally preparing me to hit the road and promote this album and give it the run that it deserves and needs. I honestly think that, we got a Billboard topper with this one. Absolutely. So the sacrifices we're making in the meantime suck, but listen, when you're homeless with a plan, I think that helps. That's a bit of advice I want to give to my homeless brothers and sisters out there. Be homeless with a plan, and more than that, be homeless, and executing your plan to the best of your ability. I was rewatching the footage that I edited. I noticed a lot of things in my life that are probably contributing to the stress level for me. I mean, you saw how messy, that the room was. It looked like I was a party animal, when in reality, like I said, I was working the whole time. Now, that's typical. I mean, I showed you guys my truck on every episode, and that's the messiest shit since, a 6th grade locker. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very messy person. Now, watching it on camera gave me a whole different perspective. One of my thoughts was, hey, you got a lot to think about in your life and some things that you're stressing about, and how much is that multiplying the stress level? Basically what I'm saying is, we got to be honest with ourselves when there's opportunities for improvement. I mean, that's an opportunity for improvement right there. And so maybe being homeless is also something that's going to help me in the long run, because, I got to pack my shit up every day or every other day, or, every so often. Load it, unpack it. And so just the repeatedness of having to do that, in my mind, because the way my brain works, I want to structure everything and get it to the point where I'm as efficient as possible. So I'm already thinking like, man, you know, yeah, it sucks, but like maybe the repetition is gonna be something that DRIPPMAN needs, especially as we hit the road to promote this album. Hey, you don't like doing it, that's okay, you have to. And that's kind of the attitude and the approach I've took towards every aspect of this music was kind of like, you don't want to be a producer, you don't want to, you know, whatever, do everything. And so that's a very critical part, I feel like, of traveling. We have some very expensive equipment, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So it's just too many reasons for us, you know, just to develop a more structured system. That's one example. Now, me being a music artist and a CEO, I got a lot of very important things to do. So on one hand, I used to tell myself like, hey, you know, those are little jobs. You know, you just need to get an employee for that. Those are beneath you type shit. But when I watch myself on camera, because there's some footage I didn't show you where I'm looking for shit for so long. And it's kind of like, no, that's beneath you, gang. Not the taking the extra 30 seconds to tidy up after yourself. It's the having to take an hour out of your day to find your things, and that's very typical for me. So I don't want to spend the rest of this video being overly critical on myself. But I wanted to use these things as strong examples of what today led to for me. It was a chain reaction of thoughts. You know, some of those thoughts were negative, and I gotta be honest, I'm a big baby, so some of it was definitely boo-hoo. You know, poor me, you know what I mean? Kiss my boo-boo. You know what I mean? Spank me, Johnny, I don't know. But once I identified that bitch-assness, you know, it evolved from there. It evolved to, hey, you know, how can we appreciate this moment? And then also, it evolved to what I was just explaining, which is how can we grow from this moment? You know, how can we make sure this moment isn't in vain? And so, hopefully me sharing my process and some of my thoughts, I'm really hoping can motivate you and maybe bring some sauciness to your homeless situation. Being without a home doesn't mean you have to be without a plan. Doesn't mean you have to be without execution. And it certainly doesn't mean you don't have people on your side, gang. Listen, Drip Gang, y'all been running me up every single day. Hey, if I gotta go without a structure for a day or two or whatever, just know I'm gonna work tirelessly and even harder. And we're gonna get back to it tomorrow. Today, rest day, fine. They say even God rested. That's what they say. Well, fuck what you heard. We ain't done yet. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.